Come take a trip in my airship. Come take a sail among the stars. Come have a ride around Venus. Come have a spin around Mars. Show us to us while we're giddy. Show us to see while we school. Come take a trip in my airship and we'll visit the man in the moon.
Greetings, loyal airmen, and welcome to the Airship27 Podcast, number 85. I'm one of your co-hosts, Captain Ron Fortier, and joining me as ever from the other side of the hangar is Chief Engineer Rob Davis.
Good morning. We're recording this in the morning. I don't know when you'll be watching this. Some people will watch it in the morning, some will watch it in the afternoon, and some will even watch it late at night.
See,
so
I've still
all
got
of
my cup of Joe to wake up.
Yeah, and I've got instead of my iced tea, I have coffee.
There you go. All right.
Cheers.
Before we get cracking, because we got a good sized agenda today. It's been a while since we joined you, loyal airmen.
Yeah, so I couldn't believe it. As long as it had been, it's April and we're in June, almost in the middle of June.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since we did this.
Yeah. But again, ups and downs. That's the way the publishing business goes. Feast or famine. Yep. And before we got going, we have a little sad note to mention. One of our two of our earliest contributors, Airship 27, were writer Riley Hogan and his cousin James Conahan. James was an illustrator and an artist.
Right.
And he recently passed away. Riley gave me that information. Riley had given us a book called As Tartary Burns, a story of Cossacks and magic and whatever. And James was his cousin. And again, a professional illustrator. So he had illustrated that book, the interiors and the cover, which were absolutely beautiful. And then later, after doing that, he came back and did the third Sinbad New Voyages book for us, which was a full-length novel by C.B. Harvey called The Warriors of Forever. Both books were beautiful. James did an outstanding job, and we got to meet him, I believe, at Windy City the year he first did As Tartary Burns.
Yes, yeah. Now that you bring my memory back to that. Yeah, I had forgotten we had met the guy, but he and Riley were at the show. Right. And it was interesting meeting both of them. So, but that's sad news.
Our condolences to James's friends and family. Again, a really nice guy. And as long as those books are out there, people are going to enjoy his beautiful artwork.
Yep.
All right.
They're still available, both of them. Yep.
There you go. As Tartary Burns and the Sinbad New Voyages Volume 3. Check them out on Amazon. Right. All right, hey, time for a bad joke of the month.
Okay, let's put the sadness behind us, and we'll. It's my turn to go first this time.
Lay it on us.
Crazy. All right, here we go. Sitting on the edge of the highway, waiting to catch speeders, a state police officer saw a car driving along at 22 miles per hour. He thinks to himself that car is just as dangerous as a speeder, so he turns his lights on and pulls the car over. Approaching the car, he notices there are 5 old ladies inside, 2 at the front and 3 at the back, wide-eyed and looking like ghosts. The driver, obviously confused, said, "Officer, I don't understand. I wasn't doing over the speed limit. What did you pull me over for?" "Ma'am," the officer said, "you should know that driving slower than the speed limit can also be dangerous." "Slower than the speed limit? No, sir. I was doing exactly 22 miles an hour," the old woman said proudly. The officer, trying not to laugh, explains that 22 is the route number, not the speed limit. A little embarrassed, the woman smiled and thanked the officer for pointing out her error. "Before I go, ma'am, I have to ask, is everyone okay? Those women seem badly shaken and haven't said a word since I pulled you over." The old lady says, "Oh, they'll be all right in a minute, officer. We just got off Route 142.
Perfect. Night. Oh, what a lead up. What a lead up. I love it. That. All right, Rob. Way to go. Okay, I'm gonna have to wait a little while until I lay mine on you.
Yeah, we can wait. We can wait.
Okay.
Oh, no.
All right. So since Rob had the pleasure, the fun of getting us going, I'll start off with the first agenda, and that's Pulp Factory Awards at Windy City.
Yeah.
Weeks ago now. We once again had the fun of hosting the Pulp Factory Awards at this year's Windy City Pulp and Paper Convention in Lombard, Illinois. And here is the list of the winners. For the best novel was Captain Hockland and Invisible Enemy by Charles F. Milhouse. Best short story was Snow Ambition by our friend Brian K. Morris from Snow Shorts from Bain Books. Best anthology, Pulp Reality #2 from Stormgate Press. I feel a little affinity to that one, Rob. I had a story in it. Best cover,
Hey.
Clayton Merwin for Pulp Reality, Volume 2. Best interior illustrations, Stephen Burks for Pulp Reality #3. And finally, I'll let you read that last chapter, okay?
Okay.
Go for
And
it.
finally, this year, the awards committee gave their Pulp Grandmaster Award to Connecticut-based writer Nancy Hansen. There is a video on YouTube showing Nancy getting the award, and at the end features a list of all the winners. So it's on my YouTube channel, the one that we put these podcasts on, so you can see it there. Just check through the list; it should be on there.
Yeah, we want to thank fellow writer Lee Houston Jr., who helped us surprise Nancy with the award. She had
Right.
no clue she was going to get it, and
Yep.
so Lee surprised her with it. I think 2 days, a day before we went to the show,
Yeah.
and basically filmed her opening the box, and it's such a great moment. You got to check the video out, right?
Yeah, you
and hey,
definitely
look,
have to watch it if you haven't already.
yeah, and I want to congratulate Charles Milhouse too and his crew at Stormgate Press. They almost swept the awards this year, except for Brian's short story from Bang Books. But you know what? Hey, they're an up and coming company in the pulp community, and it's really great to see it.
He has some very faithful fans who voted him in. So yeah, that's what it takes to win awards is get your fans excited about what you're doing. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So again,
in that vein,
yeah, let's keep the ball rolling. Airship 27 nominated for a Muncie Award. For the second year in a row, Airship 27 was nominated for the Pulp Fest Muncie Award. Named after pioneering pulp publisher Frank Muncie, the award is given out every year at Pulp Fest to the individual or organization that has contributed above and beyond to the continuation of pulp history and fandom. Both Rob and I are extremely flattered and honored to receive this nod and wish to thank those people who were kind enough to nominate us. We'd also like to extend our congratulations to the other 12 nominees, all of which are truly worth the award. So, what is Mike Chomko sent us each a letter yesterday.
Yes, I got an email from him. Yeah, as you did. So congratulating us, and it's a thrill. And this year we'll actually be at the show. The last time we were nominated, we couldn't go, and we hadn't been for several years anyway, because that's a long haul. But I thought we ought to try it again this year, and it just coincides with the fact that we're also nominated. Yeah, Pulp Fest 50. This is their 50th. So 50 years of doing.
August the 4th to the 7th, people. Check it out. Go Google it, okay? And if you get the opportunity, you're anywhere near the Pittsburgh area those dates, come join us. Pulp shows are so much fun. Yep,
please.
Okay, let you take the next.
All right, the next one is Radio Archives Paper Sleeves. Several months ago, the folks at Radio Archives, feeling the economic pinch of production like so many other companies today, decided to cease producing compact discs of their audiobooks. The cost of the plastic cases they used had become prohibitive, and they hoped to go strictly digital. I think it wasn't just the cost, it was the fact he was having a hard time finding them.
Yeah.
And when they were expensive. What they didn't count on was how adamant their customer base was in continuing to collect physical discs. After some further consideration, Radio Archives relented with the proviso that from now on their audio disc will be mailed in paper or cardboard sleeves, a much cheaper alternative to the plastic and probably a lot more available. We at Airship 27 are delighted with the solution, as were our writers. Radio Archives has the finest audiobook readers in the business, and we value our partnership with them. Here's hoping they are around for years to come.
Yep. I think that lasted all of them, maybe a week.
I think it was like 3 days. I mean, he announced it, and then like 3 or 4 days later, he had to come back and go, "Yeah, I got all these people, so we're gonna do cardboard sleeves." So yeah.
The kicker is, Tom Brown is the owner and managing, editor of Radio Archives, and he has a huge customer base. He's been around for a while, and because of the quality of their product, that stands as it is. And yeah, I think he misjudged, the avid fervor of collectors. All right. And that's simply what it was. And I personally, it's like you and I, talk in the other side of the world about paper versus digital. I still want to hold a book in my hand, regardless if call me old fashioned if you want. I get publishers calling me all the time, Rob, about emailing me about reviewing their books digitally. And I'm like, nope. I'm sorry.
No, gotta have a book. Gotta have
a book.
Gotta have that paper. Gotta have that smell.
Oh. 100%. All right. Okay. So hey, look.
It's part of
here we go.
The smell and the touch and the feel. Yeah.
It's tactile. I mean, if you haven't noticed, I don't know. The last time I was in Walmart, I walked by the music section. Okay, discs are disappearing, whereas vinyl is making a comeback with the diehard collectors.
Isn't that weird? That is so weird. Teresa was a manager of a store called Musicland that sold music. It sold, the 12-inch discs, the vinyl discs, and then and cassette tapes, which are dead. They're gone now too. And then they started getting compact discs, which was that was pretty nice because they took up less room than either about the same as a disc, as a cassette
tape.
Tape. They didn't take up nearly as much room, so they were an advantage in that fact. Plus, they also didn't scratch easily, and they had superior sound. Well, some people think it's not superior, but anyway. But now vinyl's making a comeback because it has a warm sound to it. That needle in the groove is just a warmer sound than a compact disc has, which is
digitally can't reproduce it. It can't.
No,
your ear can tell the difference.
Yeah, it's something that can't be reproduced, and some people really prefer that. And more albums are selling now, the vinyl albums. So plus you get a 12 by 12 thing of art. You can get liner notes on the back. So the whole package is what really sells a 12-inch
It's like the more
disc.
things change, the more they stay the same. Right?
Who'd
have thunk, right? I mean,
I wouldn't have. I thought they were dead. I
So
thought they were just going to be a niche market, but they're actually Barnes and Noble has a whole section of LPs. So
all of them, right? Again, so like I said, so hey, like vinyl books and paper are no means gone. All right, there are always going to be us people there who enjoy the tactile feel, but the sound and everything. Okay, hey, look, this is why we do this show. We got some new books out. Yay! And so, release, we'll go back and forth, buddy. Release since our last show, we had Barry Baskerville's Fishing Adventure. This is the 8th book in our children's book series by writer Richard Kellogg and artist Gary Cato about a young boy who solves mysteries and wants to grow up to be Sherlock Holmes. It's another great book for young readers. 8, and Kellogg's still going strong. Gary keeps knocking them out of the ballpark. Loyal Airman, if you get grandkids or, nieces and nephews in that 8 to 10 area, which I think the books are perfect for, really young reader books, all right? I know some of my own nieces I've given copies to, and they absolutely love them, and they keep bugging Uncle Ron about, any more Barry Baskerville coming? So, hey, it's a lot of fun, and I hope you check it out. Okay, and then what happened?
Well, next, The Adventures of Doc Atlas, a long-awaited book. This took a while to get out. This one's by Michael Black and Ray Lovato. It contains 3 early Doc Atlas adventures. Artist Ed Cato. He's going to harass me for mispronouncing his name. Cato provided all the artwork from the gorgeous black and white interiors to the fully painted cover, and he labored over that thing. That's part of why it took so long for us to get it, because he wanted to do a really bang-up job on it, and he did. This is the beginning of a series that will reprint all the old Doc stories, leading to the debut of brand new tales. And was it Michael or Ray who said they had just come up with a book that they were proofing?
Yeah, right. They were tossing it back and forth to read. Ray just finished a novel, I believe, and handed it over to Michael. Okay.
Right.
They have this own unique pattern how they work together. So a couple things to mention about this whole series, again, is what you just read. The concept was, when we agreed that, Airship 27 would become the new home for Doc Atlas and his gang, we would reprint together in one unified volume where all the fans could get them now, because some of them have gone out of print, some of the early publishings and stories. So that was the process. In fact, just this morning before we started recording, Rob, I finished editing what will be the second volume. Okay. And it contains 4 reprint stories, all right? And so much fun. I'm really getting a kick out of this myself, all right? But again, I'm anxious for us to go through that inventory. Ed Cato will return. He's going to be the artist on the Doc Atlas books. And the thing we need to mention while we're doing this, because I don't remember the exact date, but when Ray notified us he'd finished a novel and passed it on to Michael Black, he also told us that he's had heart issues for the last few years. And I think from what I recall of his letter to us, either that surgery is taking place this week or next week coming up. He's having some kind of bypass surgery. All right. So our prayers and well wishes go out to Ray and his family. All right. And that he comes through with flying colors and we get to see a lot more Doc Atlas adventures.
Yep. Fingers crossed.
Okay. Yep. And then just out a few days ago, we have Yokai. All right. A science fiction novel by Wayne Carey. This is a sequel to his earlier book, Alaris, The Adventures of a Space Hauler on a World Colonized by Japanese Descendants, which might be haunted by ghosts. Donald Simpson of Megaton Man fame, provides the interior illustrations. This is his first work for Airship 27. And once again, Ted Hammond gave us a cover that your jaw will drop when you see it. This is great old-fashioned space opera in the vein of Edmund Hamilton and E.C. Tubb. And I want to, kudos to you, Rob, because when we did Alaris last year and I read and edited it, that's the feeling I had. It was like those old Daw paperback books of the 70s. And they had a style to them, all right, when they were beautifully designed paperbacks. So that was the look we were going for. And with Ted's help, with his illustration, you guys knocked out Alaris out of the park. It looked like a 70s sci-fi paperback.
Who did the art of the first? Was that James Lyle that did that? I believe it was James Lyle did the first one, didn't he?
Right. He did the interiors. Right, exactly. Yeah. So, getting the reason we were lucky enough to get Don Simpson, and boy, his stuff on Megaton Man is sweet. He's such a great artist. He was at Pulp Fest last year for the first time ever and was sitting next to Wayne Carey. Wayne had copies of Alaris and his other books for Airship 27, and Don's curiosity was piqued. And before the weekend was over, basically he suggested the possibility he'd like to work with us, and it was natural, right? We had Yokai, coming out of the tubes as far as being, edited and written. So we just naturally went to Don and said, well, you've met Wayne, you've become friends. How would you like to illustrate this book? Sure. And again, did an awesome job. It's absolutely fantastic. Please check it out. You're going to see the cover in the show notes, which definitely I am nominating this year for a Pulp Factory Award.
In the end credits, I put all the covers up. So, yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a 70s cover again. And Ted is so damn gifted. Unbelievable. Okay, amigo. So those are the 3 books that we've gotten out since our last episode. What's coming next?
Next in the queue is Bass Reeves Frontier Marshal Volume 5. It has stories by Micah Panush, Mel Odom, Gary Phillips, and Thomas McNulty. Yours truly is doing the interior illustrations, and Warren Montgomery has already turned in a gorgeous cover. So I'm in the midst of this one. I think I'm 2/3 of the way through. This week is going to be crazy for me. My daughter's getting married Saturday. Don't tell anybody. But so this is going to be a crazy week. So that probably won't get finished for another week or so. But everything is all put together, and then once I get all the illustrations done, we'll send it off to a proofreader, and within a week that may be ready to go. So, and then of course it'll go to the authors after that, but might take a couple of weeks after I finish that last illustration. But it is in the queue, and it is slowly inching its way through. So
are quite a few books all of a sudden. We've got a horse race going on now.
Yeah.
Because also nearing the finish line after a little over a year and a half is Zeppelins Over Africa. Now, this is an alternate world adventure novel featuring a World War I, which is dominated by airships from the various countries fighting each other by novelist Gene Moyers. Artist Mike Harris has only one interior illustration.
One left.
And already had turned in this beautiful cover. It's absolutely fantastic. So once Mike turns in that cover, Zeppelins Over Africa is on its way to you. And, hey, fitting for a company like Airship27, anything that has to do with dirigibles and Zeppelins, hey, let's get this out. So there you go.
Yep. So anyway, also in the queue is, and actually the next 2 are both from, and they're running neck and neck, are both of them are from R.A. Jones, my old pal from back in the Malibu days. The first one is a Western called Caged Fury. This is a part of the Man Killer series that he's been writing for us. It's called Caged Fury. It's the 3rd Western in the Jason Mankiller Bounty Hunter series by R.A. Jones. Neil Foster provides wonderful interior illustrations, and Chris Rodding turned in a fantastic cover. I mean, it just, the colors pop, the character pops. It's a gorgeous cover. It's worth seeing, folks.
And we're back to that again. All Neil has to turn in is one more illustration, one more interior, and it's a wrap. It's coming your way. And so the second book that Rob said from RA, and RA pulls these things. The guy just constantly amazes me. Okay, I mean, one of the last things we've done by him was a Peter Pan meets Alice book. I'm getting a telephone.
Pardon my phone ringing. It'll ring 3 times, and the answering machine will pick it up.
Gotcha.
So it should stop now.
So, anyways, here we go. He does westerns. He does adventure novels, Scimitar, right, and then Peter Pan of all things, which was a fun book. And then now we get The Last Days of Poe. All right. This one is a horror tale about the last days of American horror writer Edgar Allan Poe. Artist Chuck Bordell is doing the interior illustrations, and Adam Shaw has turned in another one of his stellar covers. All right.
It's gorgeous.
You're going to love this thing. I think Chuck just turned in illustration number 7, if my guess is correct.
Yeah, there's 2 left in that one.
2 more.
Yeah, 2 more. So see how close these are?
Yeah. I mean, they're coming neck and neck, folks. I'm assuming that before July is done, you're going to see probably all 4 of these books out and available, which would be really great. And maybe we might have some of them at Pulp Fest. There's a good possibility. So
it just depends on what happens in July. as we always say on here, we tell you what's in the pike and what's coming down, and then something else jumps into the lead all of a sudden. It happens all the time. We have a lot of books, all kinds of books in. I have a box of stuff, of index cards of what's coming, and it's chock full of all this different stuff. Some of it sits for a couple of years. Some of them just, as soon as I put the card in there, the stuff pops in and it's done. Yep. So yeah, we never know. So everything we told you just now, that's as of this very second, that's what's happening. But who knows what's going to happen as lightning strikes.
All the time, all the time. All right. Hey, I'll let you take the next one because we're going to shift gears now. Because as you know, Rob runs and publishes Redbud Studio, which is a comic book, branch of what we do together. But this is basically for projects that Rob and I have worked on in the past. We've reprinted some of Rob's work. We do the continuing Mr. Jigsaw comics from there. And I'll let Rob mention this one and take it away.
On the comic book front, Redbud Studio has collected the Black Lion 4-issue full color miniseries as a graphic novel available from Amazon. Artist Kevin Johnson did the pencils and inks, Eric Church the coloring, and Warren Montgomery the letters, all based on Ron's old Rambo scripts, which he converted years ago to this new character. The book features an essay detailing that evolution, and the poster-like cover is by Shannon Hall. Again, all this is available now on Amazon, and I want to emphasize this is a full-color book. A lot of the stuff we do for Redbud Studio is in black and white, but this is actually in color. So,
right. Yeah, and you know what? The thing that I tell all my students when I give my classes on comic scripting is never throw your scripts away. Even if a project should die for some reason or the editor doesn't like the scripts or whatever, just put it away in your files. You never know when you can resurrect it. And the story behind Black Lion, and I related in my memoirs book, and then that's the part that we cut and pasted in the back of this collection, this was originally my 4-issue Rambo comic book script for Blackthorn Press, way back in the early 90s, Rob. And the kicker is, they were working with Coralco Pictures, which was, at that time, the producers of the Rambo movies. And so they had to okay all the scripts. Well, the kicker is, when I wrote the script, it was because, again, being a Vietnam veteran myself, I'd had the opportunity to work with and meet actual Green Berets when I was in country, and was always really, really taken by what intelligent, patriotic men and women, these people, we're all our military are. But I mean, these guys could get dropped behind enemy lines of the jungle and survive for weeks on end by themselves if they had to. I mean, they were lingualists, they knew survival skills and whatever. They were the best of the best. Intelligent, good, decent men. So the movies, of course, Stallone's playing for the action hero, and all we get, grunt, grunt, kill, kill. And so in writing the Rambo comic, I infused some motivation. I gave him a little background, some characterization amidst the action sequences, which Coralco didn't like, and basically sent the scripts back to John Stevenson, the editor of Blackthorn. Stevenson literally went through the first 2 scripts of mine and cut out anything that smacked of motivation or characterization, and cobbled together nothing but the action sequence. They put out book number 1. It was a mess. It was horrible, except for the fact that it gave now comic pro Aaron Lepresti his first entry into comic world. And I'm sorry, Aaron, you had to start with this mess, okay? But, annoyed by all this, I basically took those scripts. I had them. I printed them out and kept them on disc and said, you know what, someday I'll get back to this, which I did. Years later, retooled all of them, turned John Rambo into an African-American Navy SEAL named Jamal Lyon, updated the scripts at our times, and then met Kevin Johnson, a 20-year Army Sergeant veteran, who's also an artist, African-American, and he loved the idea of doing this book, and voila. For those of you who have, anybody who has that one Rambo comic, please buy Black Lion and look at what it was supposed to be.
It's what it was supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It's a fun story. There's plenty of action. There's plenty of bullets flying. There's fists flying, and all this other stuff. I don't quite understand why they had a trouble with it. You balanced it really well, I thought. But we're talking about the 1990s, where everything was supposed to be like professional wrestling. You know, here's the good guy, here's the bad guy. They fight. Whoop-de-doo. You know, and again, and every woman had a waist like this big, and her breast line compensated for that. So yeah, and that's where we were in comics. I mean, we haven't gotten too far from that, but it seems like stories now count again, at least from the independents, which that's where to my mind, that's where the creativity is. Mostly in comics these days is coming from the independent publishers.
Yeah, well,
thanks to print on demand.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
made it easy for guys like you and me to go and actually tell stories instead of having to do the good guy, bad guy, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really, I think the stuff that you've published via Redbud Studios, including Black Lion, I think is quality comics. Okay, you've reprinted a lot of the stuff you did with Paul's story. All right, which I absolutely love. Stuff that you're doing with R.A. Jones for Silverline. Roland Mann's putting out such a quality line of comics, and as we both know, I recently had something published via Silverline, which was part of their recent Kickstarter campaign. They put a giant science fiction kind of thing. So you had the debut of actually 3 books. You had the debut of Beyond the Stars, which is a book I did with an Italian artist named Andrea Bermuda. This is his first debut in America. He's a 30-year professional in Europe, but he's never had anything published in America, so we're very excited about that. The other one was The Obsoletes, with art by Aaron Humphreys. And the third was a thing called Cray, which Roland had done, I believe, from Malibu as a black and white.
I think that's a reprint. I think they took some older stuff and reprinted it, but it's timeless because it's a very Conan-like story, if I recall correctly.
Right, and Stephen Butler's early artwork, which is always top notch.
Yeah.
So
even early stuff was really great.
The Kickstarter campaign was a success, above and beyond, which we're tickled pink about. The release date, of course, now they're having it printed. I think is going to be mid-July. They're going to mail them out.
I think that's what he said. The Kickstarter not only achieved its goal, it went past it. So it did very well. Ron and I were a little concerned. They had 3 books together, so I mean they were science fiction based in a way, but one would pull this way and one would pull another. But apparently there were enough people that were interested in all 3 that they pushed the Kickstarter well over its goal, which is great. Silverline's done a ton of these, and all of them have come through. Mostly because these, unlike a lot of other stuff on Kickstarters, these are all done before they even promote them at all, before they put them up. So there's no delay. The only delay is getting the money in and then doing the printing. And that usually takes about 3 or 4 weeks. So, whereas in some of the Kickstarters, you can wait a year because the creators still haven't finished the book when they promoted it. So, it could be a year or so later, and you still haven't got the book that you want. But with these, you get them as quickly as possible.
There you go.
And if it goes over its goal, there's sometimes some extra stuff you can get. There was original art for sale that you could also add on. We ended up sketches.
One of the sketches, which I thought was very cool, is we've got a trading card. So Andrea actually did a little sketch. I wrote the back. Mike Belcher, who's the letterer for the series, designed it. So everybody who donated is getting a Beyond the Stars trading card. Nice little collectible.
It's part of the package of the comics that you ordered and so on. Now there are some folks get just the digital versions, which is fine. But I want it, as we were talking, I want that comic book in my hands to look at it. And these are all color books, so they're full color books. So and
I hope my like you do Planet Comic Con Kansas City every spring. My Colorado home base show is Rocky Mountain Con in November. Again, this year will be like the weekend of my birthday again. It falls like every close. But it is what it is. I've talked to Roland, and I really hope to have a stack of Beyond the Stars on my table there for November.
Let's hope. Yeah. It should be. You should have some. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And
So,
then
hey, look,
after that's over with, then they should be available on Indie Planet. Although it
right.
seems like they're really backed up on putting books up on Indie Planet. I mean, Black Lion #4 it still isn't up there, but there's a lot of other comics that are in the same boat. There were so many people creating stuff during the pandemic that getting stuff up at Indie Planet has just kind of piled up, and they can only do so much. They're a limited staff, kind of like we are. They're a 2-3 man operation, so at Kablam. So it takes a little while for them to get up. But since we mentioned Silverline, I wanted to note to everyone that if they want to see this mug every week, they can see me on Silverline does several podcasts, several video podcasts. They stream them live and then they put them up at Facebook and YouTube. But I'm in every week. I'm on their Silverline's Wednesday Wham, and every one of those. I'm usually I throw my 2 cents in, but I'm also working on commissions while we're talking. So while you're watching, you can watch me draw. And one episode, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, actually, we were talking about penciling and inking and what kind of what I used to do all that with. So we've had special guests. Steve Englehart was on last week. We've had Mike Barron. We had Paul Kupperberg. And there are other people in the queue that we're going to have on as special guests. And they talk about their careers and comic books in general. But yeah, check that out. Go over to Silverline and Silverline on their Facebook page or at YouTube, and you can see those. You can watch them live every Wednesday. They also have a Tuesday and a Sunday show that they also
right. I remember a nice surprise turning in one Wednesday night, just watching you guys talking comics, which I enjoyed immensely. And everybody's different perspectives and takes on the art and the craft. And as it turned out, the Wednesday night I tuned in and was watching for a little while. You were actually working on page #4 of Boston Bombers, our project together. All right.
Yeah.
And kidding about the research you had to do on the Roman legions and how you had to draw thousands of them, because Ron writes 2 legions of thousands of soldiers, which takes me all of 5 seconds to write.
10,000 Romans marching across the African savannah. And I'm going, took you 10 seconds to write that. That's going to take me all day to draw. So yeah, I kind of.
Oh, that was so funny. But yeah, that's coming along really great too. It's another project of ours, which I'm very, very excited about, and I think you're doing an absolutely phenomenal job to it.
I enjoy doing the research. I picked the pages I'm working on right now. We've gone from drawing 10,000 Roman soldiers to now we're drawing thousands and thousands of Psy warriors. So
and this is only the prelude.
And then eventually they're going to hit, So I've got to draw all these guys going against all these guys. So, but once we get past that, then we start getting into the rollick and pulp action, fists flying, bullets flying, people running down the street.
Yeah, the principal characters. We pick up the narrative where Volume 1 ended, and as you so succinctly picked up on when you had assembled Volume 1 for us all those years ago, there was more story that needed to be told, and I'm tickled pink now that you and I have an opportunity to do that, because Boston Bombers has a lot of fans. We sell the collection, Volume 1, every show we go to. I get a lot of feedback from people who enjoyed it immensely. Hell, Mike Barr and Harlan Ellison were fans of Volume 1, so that's setting that bar up there. You go, yeah.
Well, there's so much depth to the story. It's set in an alternate reality, but you've built it so well. It all makes sense. It kind of clicks together, and I could tell you had more story to tell when Volume 1 ended. I'm going, I pestered you for years about it. Are you going to do more? Are you going to do more? So finally, and I think he suckered me here. I said, well, if I draw it, will you do it? And of course, he immediately goes, yes. So I'm going, okay. He sunk the hook and reeled me in. So it's taken me a while to get this thing going, because I've got so many irons in the fire. So, but I try to do a page a week. I'm not real successful at that. Actually, my goal was to do 2 a week, and that ain't happening. I'm getting one a weekend, and hopefully, as things kind of cool down after the wedding's over with,
What?
daughter's getting married
Yeah.
this week. After that ends, then after that's over with, maybe things will settle down. I think that's a pipe dream. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm going to try and get it done as soon as I can. But I've got other pressing stuff going on, so it just keeps me busy.
We had a friend. Valerie went to high school with a really nice guy who later went into the seminary, and became a Catholic priest, was ordained, and Dennis Odette, nicest guy in the world. And I can remember one day we were talking after church one Sunday. We were having a discussion, right? And he looked at me and went, he goes, when I was young, Ron, he said, I used to think life was a series of normal interruptions. And I go, and now? He said, just one interruption after another.
It ain't no normal no more.
That's just one. I never forgot that. Just one interruption after another. All right. Hey, look.
That's what happens while you're making other plans.
Hey, there you go.
Says John Lennon.
John Lennon. Yep. All right. Hey, it's time for me to lay the humorous golden goose egg.
Look out. Here it comes.
Get ready. Here we go. A young guy called Tommy bought a horse from a farmer for $250, and the farmer agreed to deliver the horse to Tommy the following day. The next day, though, the farmer turned up at Tommy's house and said, "Sorry, son, but I have some bad news. The horse died."
Oh.
Tommy replied, "Well, just give me my money back. That's fine." The farmer said, "I'm sorry, but I can't do that. I already spent it." All right, Tommy said, "Okay, then just bring me the dead horse." The farmer was a little surprised. Why? What are you going to do with a dead horse? "I'm going to raffle him off." The farmer laughed. "You can't raffle off a dead horse. Who'd buy a ticket?" Tommy said, "Sure I can. Just watch me. I just won't tell anybody the horse is dead." Okay. So a month goes by and the farmer runs into Tommy again. "So what happened," he says, "about this dead horse in the end? Did you actually raffle him off?" "I sure did. And I sold 500 tickets at $5 a piece."
Wow.
The farmer looks at him and goes, "Well, didn't anybody complain?" "Well, yeah, the guy who won. I gave him his $5 back."
Oh, brilliant. Just freaking brilliant.
We bookended this episode. This episode is, everybody listening to this will be repeating both these jokes throughout the next week. Everybody driving them
at
crazy.
Route 142.
All right. Hey,
So,
that's it.
anyway,
A good
to
show.
the end
Thanks
of another hour that you'll never get back.
Ever get back. Yeah. Again, one of the things I do want to mention before we close out, August the 4th and the 7th is Pulp Fest.
Yep. Right.
Hopefully, we're going to do another show before then. Fingers crossed. Okay. If we don't, Rob, if you guys want any books at Pulp Fest, if you're planning on attending,
right.
All right, and check out our catalog online. And there's a book you'd like to have, email Rob, please, and at least
3 weeks before the show.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, by the next, if we do another show like in July, we'll have an actual deadline. We'll have a date for you, but it should be at least 3 weeks before, because most of the time Amazon will send out the books. It takes 10 to 14 days for catalog books to go out. But sometimes, as we know from the pandemic, there supply issues, paper shortages, and stuff have pushed back. There were a couple of books this year. It took over a month to get the books to the people who ordered them. They kind of caught up on that, it seems like. But to be safe, at 3 weeks ahead. But if we do another show, I'll give you an actual deadline date. But roughly 3 weeks ahead, because if you order them after that, it's unlikely I will get them in time for the show. I have to start like 3 or 4 days before a couple of days before the show, because we're going a long way. I'm going to stay overnight even before I get there. So, and then pick Ron up at the airport in Pittsburgh. But so 3 weeks ahead, that'll be safe. But go through our catalog, see what some of our older books are, because we can't guarantee we're going to bring everything. There's no way we can bring everything. We'll probably bring some of the newer books that we've done in the last 2 years. We've still got some stuff left over from Windy City that we will probably sell at the show because we haven't been there in 3 years, almost 4.
Yeah.
So we'll some of our back catalog of the fans will be available for fans that haven't seen them in those 3 or 4 years. So we're going to go back at least for this year for Pulp Fest.
Yeah.
So order them. Let me know what you want, and I'll have it for you at the show.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'll have to settle for what I can bring along.
Trust me, there's some good stuff. There's some good stuff there. We hope to see a lot. We hope to see a lot of you loyal women in Pittsburgh. We're anxious to get back to it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, before we sign off, I want to congratulate Rob and Teresa for their daughter's wedding coming up.
Rachel and Connor. Yes.
Yeah. Hey, from everything you've told me, he's a heck of a nice guy. Yeah.
She's got a head on her shoulder. She wouldn't pick a bad guy.
And Rob's going to be giving a toast at the wedding reception,
and I will. If we do another show in July, I'll read you the toast. I won't give anything away because they might actually watch this. So I don't want to give anything away. But I have.
It's a pit. It's a pit.
Father of the bride gets to do a toast at the wedding reception, and like most fathers, I'm gonna needle and I'm gonna have a little fun with this. So yeah, I will read it for you next time in July if we do this. If we get this done before August. So
hey, my prayers and best wishes to the whole family. Okay, it's a blessed.
Thank you. Thank you. It should be a lot of fun. There'll be some tension. You know how things are. Before it happens, there'll be a lot of tension between now and then. But as I tell people, young people who talk about we're getting married, I'm going, well, your wedding is the best party you will ever throw.
Amen.
Absolutely. It'll be the best party you've ever had. Amen. So believe me. So looking forward to the fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. With that, my friend, sign us out.
All right. This is Chief Engineer Rob Davis signing off.
And as ever, Captain Ron's only too happy to say, down ship.